Yours normally have like gyms and stuff.
That is what the convicts 60 metres long. They did add another section at the far end there where the green downpipes are. After a gold rush era here, population increased ×4. You get ×4 the population, you're going to get ×4 the crime. So they did more cells. Women, when they were here, were held behind the far wall where that red brick building sits up. About 85 women could be held there, compared to 850 men in these other sections. So 10 times as many men on site. And thank goodness they never came together for any purpose. Totally separate. The women were managed by female officers, the men managed by male officers. Now to this side of us, where the rusty fence is up the top there, they had a little bit of recreation. They had a concrete cricket pitch. Concrete, because you don't have to water it. You know, it'll survive any season, concrete. And closer to the wall, a bit of a makeshift tennis court. I wouldn't say state of the art. And these lower areas used to grow vegetables in various prison eras.
Careful, Alfie, you want to flatten them. Faster one.
It's not like a courtyard. It's like a court.
Oh, look at the cells, Alfie. Oh, look at that.
Like the very dangerous stuff. The very dangerous people.
I remember there was one that had some paint.
I told you about the very dangerous people.
Yeah. Look at
So
the
everyone,
roof.
Got little
we're
people.
not going to stop here for long, but this is the cell.
Now you get an extra guide here with all these materials.
At least they're better than stone beds.
That's tiny.
Fire in it for baking bread. In the modern era, they had more they used inside here, and that was sealed up, and that became a recreation room. So if you're one of 12-hour shift. That's why they got the best pay. Yes.
Come on, Alfie.
He said there's sassy ladders there. He said very glad he escaped digging with a spoon.
Yeah, I think it was Joe, wasn't it?
There's the knives. You know, it's just the support.
Yeah. Big machete, that's not a knife. Oh wow, look at that.
But everyone can listen. This prison starts in 1850. It keeps being used till 1991. In all that time, it's never ever had a dining room or a mess hall. So who would like to throw a question at me to start to where? Whether that happened or not, who knows? By about 1960, I reckon this prison is crying out for a dining room. But have you ever known a government?
Be careful, Alfie. Oh yeah, look at the gym stuff. How'd you get on that pull-up ball? You have to jump.
Quite cool, really, isn't it?
Yeah. I did as well, man.
For troublesome teenagers, if you want to hang them up. So that's your first option. If you want to, do the first area or come with me.
We'll go up
You'll be
here.
the lucky
This
first
way, Alfie.
18, and then you'll get a front row seat.
Oh.
Right up to the bar. You can come right up to the woodwork if you wish. No gallows, and none of them were murderers. The worst crime we had in the convict era was manslaughter, and that wouldn't see you hanged. They shut the old Perth jail where they used to do hangings, and all this equipment was brought here for 1888. That includes the beam, the trapdoor, and the lever. Now there's a couple of things that weren't here when it was an active gallows. This black bar you're leaning on, and the mesh in the pit. That's just to stop excited children from jumping or falling in. or babies. Tempting though, isn't it?
I'll get a picture of that later.
So there it is, that's not there, and the trapdoor's down. After the event, they have to reset that like a flat floor, ready for the next execution. Now this is the sort of noose they use here. I'll give it a bit of a swing. That is a halter noose. It slides on an eyelet with a loop. It doesn't have wrappings around it, and it was very effective because you only reach the end of the limit of the rope, it flicks the neck, which breaks the vertebrae and severs the nerves. So you are dead very instantly. The slip knot noose that you usually see tends to choke and strangle you from your own body weight, and you could be there gasping until you expire. It might take a while. This one, not so. Now, out the back here is an old convict cell block. That's where they would keep the condemned person for the last 2 hours of their life. The last thing they were offered was a stiff drink of brandy. It was thought to calm the nerves. I bet they said, yes please, can I get 2? Because they know where they're coming. They are then marched in by 4 officers, and without this black bar here, they go straight onto the platform. And the 4 officers split, 2 on that plank, 2 on this plank. They make sure it's a little way over the trapdoor, because they don't stand on here and they're on the platform, they'll fall in when it drops. So their job is to stand here, and they, with one hand, hold this black bar behind them, which is very solid, and they lean forward like this to hold the prisoner square and steady. Because by now the hangman has put a hood on the person's head and they can't see. And it's starting to wobble around a bit, but they're being held steady by the 4 officers who were referred to as corner men. Now here's a problem, everyone. What if the prisoner collapses? They lose their legs, they go to jelly, they can't stand up. Either from fear or fainting. We're going to wait till they recover and come back tomorrow, say, and hang them? No. We're going to use that chair. We slide the chair onto the platform, and because they can't stand, we slump them in the chair. But you notice that chair's got a little rope. So when it drops, when the clang of the gate, if the gate's open, the chair's going to drop, and so will the prisoner, but the chair will be left swinging and hanging. It's not going to break on the ground. Now, I don't know my chairs very well, I'm not that much into furniture. That could very well be an 1888 chair. But what I'm saying is they've never had to replace the chairs because they're not getting damaged. So whether you're standing on your own or you've been slumped in the chair, you now have a hood on your head. The hangman then puts the noose on your neck. He retreats to the lever here. He's listening out for the striking of the clock from the guardhouse tower that you hear in here. 8 a.m. of a Monday morning is when they carried it out, if there was to be an execution.
Are we going to go down there?
So you can hear the strikes. What's that?
Are we going to go down there?
No, you're not going down there. Only certain people go down there. So, you're listening as the hangman for the donging of the bells. Dong, 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 8 of those, somewhere in there. He pulls the lever, the trapdoor drops open, the body's got nowhere to go but down. Oops, there's a rope round the neck. Something like that. Probably a bit noisier. I don't like to overdo it.
Even come with some sliders or flip-flops.
Someone's flip-flops, isn't it? That's all she had.
Cells divided with a wall. That's how they built them in the convict era. And they have to make them bigger by 1880, and they knew they could knock that wall out and the place wouldn't collapse. So it goes from these small cells to the main change in prison cell size, full cell and a hammock.
This has got a double window.
Oh wow, look at that bed.
Yeah, but those are itchy blankets. You can't get.
And it's his own private piece, you might say. And brilliant. The colour is amazing. It bounces off the wall like a sunset. And this is the stride of Carol. So if you want to look it up, it's like the girl's name, Carol.
You can have Xboxes in prison.
There's all sorts in prison.
That's amazing, that, isn't it?
I wouldn't mind being in prison though if I get an Xbox.
This is before it closed.
We need to attract the people here. Why don't we set the place on fire and all the news crews will fly over and film them? And that's exactly what
I'd look for TV.
Yeah.
January the 4th, 1988.
ice cream, and I wouldn't mind going to them brewery things.
Yeah.
Because they're on the sea.
Now everyone, what we've got on the walls here, relative to women, is 8 separate charge sheets, or rap sheets as you might know. Women brought here with their crimes listed, and each sheet is the same woman, not a collection of women. One woman on each sheet, name, photo, or her crimes. And a lot of women in the year 1890 to 1920 were rounded up off the street for being vagrants. Absolute vagrants. Which is a nice one.
I'm not even scratching my
Now, if you can't read anything, you let me know. Children's shoes, vegetables are bad, that sort of stuff. Because
Visitation day for Josh in prison. Yeah, what you been doing now, Josh?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no worries.
Don't lose it. Yeah.
Yeah, be careful because you might snap it.
Alfie, this is when it was open.